Hello YouTube, Coach Nicole here. Something interesting came across my feed and I thought I would share it with you. Apparently, sport fencing is broken. Well, I could have told you that, but this time it's coming from one of their own, and well, I have to agree. The FIE has a gigantic tome of over 200 pages of rules and regulations. They've taken what was once a sword art and watered it down to an electrified game of tag. The sport is so over-codified that the judges can make any call they want and most likely can find a rule somewhere in those 200 pages to justify it.
So basically what this means is that refereeing is kind of vibes-based.
It is almost impossible to tell who's going to be awarded the point after an exchange.
And you can imagine, this is such a huge barrier of entry to the sport when it becomes really, really hard to give a concise explanation.
And it has made sport fencing completely unwatchable. No one outside of sport fencing is interested in watching two people dressed in white leap at each other and try to make touches that amounts to a car antenna mounted on a catfish. As a sport, it doesn't fill seats.
As it stands, fencing is clearly not the most spectator-friendly sport.
And this is something that we in HEMA need to take note of. What I really want to talk about is the disturbing trend that HEMA tournaments have been taking. Over the last few years, there's been a push to remove a lot of the martial validity from tournaments and slowly replace it with really what amounts to sport fencing with historical weapons. You know, events where they have their version of a piece, they have their version of a right-of-way, and so the downward spiral begins. If we want our sport to grow, it needs to be watchable. The UFC is the perfect example of this. It's pretty straightforward. In most matches, you can follow the action and pretty well make out who's won the round. And the most important thing, it sells out stadiums. HEMA done right is also a combat sport. If we have rule sets that reward martial behavior, we'll have watchable fights. The difference between this and this.
Stop. He goes crazy. Yes!
Which do you think an audience would prefer to see more of? We really need to start looking at rule sets for our tournaments because this is what sets behavior. People will always play to the rules that we give them. If an event has a weighted afterblow, I guarantee you will have fighters that will accept a blow to a lower point target area in order to hit someone else at a higher point target area. What do you wind up with? Double fest, unwatchable. If you have rules that award points for flat hits, what do you have then? Well, you have the floppy, singy flail fest. Again, unwatchable. If you were hit with a martial blow with a sharp sword, you may not be dead immediately, but you're certainly not at your best. And most likely your opponent will end you in follow-up exchanges. We create rules to keep from doing serious harm to our opponents and our players, but we need to keep in mind what these weapons actually do. Yeah, I'm sure he could throw an afterblow after that, right? We have the opportunity in HEMA to build a great, entertaining martial sport, but only if we keep the martial aspect intact. If we go the way of sportifying HEMA and follow a sport fencing template, we're going to wind up exactly where they are now. Disappointed, disillusioned with what their sport has become, and completely unmarketable as a spectator event. Take heed, folks. The signs are there. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And as always, a big thank you to our Patreon supporters. We couldn't do this without you. If you'd like more information on our online classes, please check the link below. And we have a free Discord server if you'd like to join us. And remember, train hard so you can fence easy.